Hello everybody, this is Money Mom. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to tell you guys 5 major mistakes I've made when stockpiling food. Let's get right into it. I know, even ever since I've been on YouTube, many people have talked about being prepared and stockpiling. I remember when I started out almost 5 years ago on YouTube, I met a lady that was doing YouTube at that time, and she said that she always liked to have at least 3 months of supply of food on hand, and she said it came in handy if her husband got laid off, things like that. It really ended up saving him a lot of money. So I do think having some stockpile can be helpful. It depends on how much room you have, what you want to store, how big your family is, and what you feel comfortable with and how much your family is going to eat so that you don't waste food. The bottom line is not letting the food get expired or wasting it and then having to throw it out. So some mistakes that I've made, the first one is buying too much of something. I can think of 2 things that I did that on. Now, both of them, one of them I ended up having to throw away and it wasn't a food item. The other item I didn't. I remember years ago when I got a bunch of mayonnaise, I think ended up getting it for like 25 cents a jar. This is in the double and triple coupon days. Do any of you remember those? I used to be one of those extreme couponers on a smaller level. That being said, I ended up buying 5 jars. Well, there's only 3 of us, and my daughter was really little at that time, and she wasn't eating that. So I kept 1 jar, and I gave the other 4 jars to friends, so I didn't waste it. Something else, and it was like 1 penny a piece or something. They were clearancing whiteout, and I bought a whole bunch of it. And I think I used 2 of them, and then I thought, oh, well, I can just save these. Well, they ended up drying out. So sometimes buying too much, that's probably been a mistake from the past. Number 2, and this is a mistake, I only ended up, I think, throwing out 1 or 2 things, and I did a video on that. I'm going to link it at the end of this one, is when I organized our cans, my daughter helped me. I went and took everything out, and then I looked at the dates, and then I wrote the date on the bottom. And before I use these, like let's say if I wanted to use olives or tomatoes, what I'm doing is I'm taking it out and I'm looking at what is the date, and then I'm writing it with a marker on there and really keeping track of it so that I don't waste any of my canned foods. And it doesn't just have to be canned foods, but that's just an example. And then this one is another one. Number 3, buying things that maybe everyone doesn't eat, or buying a large quantity of something everyone doesn't eat. For example, I do use rolled oats. This is a container that we will go through. But you can buy rolled oats, whether it's quick or steel cut oats, in massive quantities. And some people go through all of that, and if that's so, that's fantastic. But if you have a smaller family and a lot of people don't eat oats that much, you may not go through a huge bunch of oats. So buying too much or buying too much of something that not everyone eats that often, that can be a massive amount. Or if like only one person eats it, so that would be something. For example, I do use this protein shake. Nobody else in my household does. This lasts me a while because I don't have it every day, but I know some folks that are friends with me that occasionally like to have a protein shake, but they wouldn't want to buy a whole container. So what I do is I give them some of mine, that way it doesn't go to waste at their house. So that would be one example. This is another big one you never hear about, but buying stuff that you don't have time to prepare. And I'm going to give you an example. Many times when people want to bulk shop, they want to go buy things like beans, that you soak. Nothing wrong with that. That is a really great way to save money, is instead of buying beans in a can, is if you prepare them yourself. Now, let's take somebody that I recently met that just worked 70 hours last week. If somebody's working a lot of hours, and they only have maybe 1 day off that week, they may not want to take that day and do all this food prep. So if you're going to buy something, you want to make sure it's something that you have time to actually prepare, or that you want to do that. Not everybody loves to prepare food and to cook ahead. It's not everyone's, cup of tea. So know that about yourself so you don't end up buying a bunch of stuff like pasta or dried beans or oats and things that you never get around to using. Last but not least, and I have done this, forgetting what you have in your freezer, refrigerator, and pantry. I do sometimes waste food occasionally. The good news is, since I've started this channel, I'm getting better and better about less and less food waste all the time. The reason why is I don't buy as much produce and I don't buy bread as often because those were the two things that we were wasting. Loaves of bread and a bunch of produce. Now I just buy less. So these are some mistakes I've made. I want to ask you guys, if you've done stockpiling of any type of food or other products in your home, tell me some mistakes that you've made and that you've learned from. Please share them in the comments below so we can all learn. At the end of this video, you'll see a video on how I showed you how I organized my cans. I hope you find it interesting. That's all for now. I love you, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on tomorrow morning's video. Bye-bye.